Good morning to all of you gathered there in Toledo. I wish I could be with you today. I think these conferences are really important. They're important because they give you a chance to network, to learn from each other, to feel less alone. But I think this conference is particularly important for two reasons. One of them is that it launches a national association. I've been concerned for some years, ever since the demise of VOMA, that we don't have an infrastructure to support this movement. It's astonishing that the movement is doing as well as it is without the infrastructure. So I'm hoping this association can begin to form that association. The challenge is going to be to bridge the gap between academics and practitioners. Academics and practitioners have different perspectives, different needs, and it can be challenging. My bias is toward the practitioner side, but I hope we can find a way to balance those perspectives. The second reason it's so important, and this is an urgent one, is because of the topic, race and justice. And as you know, that it's an urgent question for the criminal justice system generally, given our incarceration rates and disproportionate incarceration and so forth. But it's particularly important for the restorative justice field, for us. It raises three questions, at least, for me. One of them is, are we simply duplicating the disparities and injustices that the legal system perpetuates? Are we masking social injustices the way the legal system does it? A second question is, have we thought enough about how to use restorative justice philosophy and practices proactively to address these issues? And third, have we considered enough the bias, the cultural and gender and other biases that might be built into the way many of us articulate and practice restorative justice? Frankly, one of the reasons I'm starting to move into semi-retirement is that I think that people have heard enough from old white guys like me, and we need to hear other voices. Other voices need to come to the forefront. And that is true. I am beginning to back down and semi-retire, and as part of that process this week, the archives here at the university have begun to collect my papers. And one of the papers that emerged from that was the first real articulation of restorative justice that I did in print back in 1985, a little booklet called Retributive Justice, Restorative Justice. And I hadn't looked at it for a long time, but my colleague Carl Stauffer, Carl teaches restorative justice with me here, and he wanted to be at the conference, but his son had the audacity to get married this weekend, and he seemed to think that took priority. He looked at this and he said, "Did you know at the end of this you raised concerns about restorative justice's likelihood of getting co-opted and diverted?" And I didn't remember that I had it there, but I know I've had that concern right from the start. I tell my students, every social intervention, no matter how well you intend it, is going to be co-opted and diverted. It's going to have unintended consequences, and restorative justice is no different. So I still believe restorative justice is the most exciting thing going, but I do think we need to be aware that it will be co-opted and diverted. So I leave you with the words of Edward Abbey, the environmental advocate. He was talking to environmentalists, but it's equally valuable to us. He called on people to be half-hearted fanatics. Let's be half-hearted fanatics. That is, committed to the cause, but open to concerns and criticism, and above all, taking care of ourselves. Because as Abbey pointed out, we're no good to the field, to the movement, if we don't take care of ourselves. So I hope you are getting refreshed from this conference. I hope you leave energized, and I hope you leave ready to take on the complexities of trying to implement a very simple idea in the real world. So thank you for letting me be with you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.